class. I would like to welcome you to World Civ 106. I want to apologize about the video quality or lack thereof. My goal this weekend is to find a better mic and video for recording these announcements. In the meantime, you're just going to have to tolerate the poor quality. But I just want to say that I'm excited about teaching this class. I've been teaching this the most and the longest. And World Civ 106, the way I teach it, becomes kind of basically a world religions class. Now, why do I do this? Several reasons. One, World Civ classes cover way too much material. If I had power to alter the approach on getting information like this out, I would probably change things. I'd maybe prefer focusing on with classes that focus on regions, maybe Northeast Africa and Arabia, or Sub-Saharan Africa, or just Latin America, Far East Asia, because there's just so much information. But I get it. This is a survey course, and the idea is to expose you to basically the world, and that's a pretty ambitious agenda. But I will, I strive to enact that agenda as successfully as possible. And so why do I focus on world religion? Well, I figure if we're going to talk about basically every place that we can get to within a short period of time, I might as well focus on something that most people have thoughts about. So you could be an atheist, or you could be a devout, any given religion I could mention: Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever. And you have a strong thought, right? And you've at least probably grown up in a household that has a cultural tradition of participating, or at least being kind of born into a particular religion. So yeah, I think that it's a healthy way to kind of like mentally grasp as much of the parts of the world as possible. So it's not shoving a particular ideology down your throat. In other words, this is simply just pure, like, observable historical observation about the way that given societies have perceived the universe through a kind of religious tradition. And I don't only do that. It's just the emphasis that I touch on for us. Okay. So you won't feel, if you're a very religious person and you don't like, it's not like it's going to make you want to switch over to some other team. That's not the whole goal of this, or to switch away from whatever. Okay, so just making that clear. Second thing to say, that this is somewhat of a cram course, is a late start. I did not want it to be a late start. I would have rather had it started at a normal time. I'm not quite sure about why it's a late start. I'm happy to be able to teach this class, and you're happy to be able to get to take the class. But it means that we have to cram the same amount of information in less time to do it. So some weeks, so let me just clarify. I have just been really having a hard time trying to figure out the best way to cram, being behind about a month on the normal schedule, because I have to teach the same amount of information in less amount of time. That's what a late start does. It becomes like a sort of cram course. And so what I figured I could do, because we're only like behind a month, is that some weeks will be hit with kind of like a 2-in-1, but not every week. And I'll try to make sure in my announcements that to kind of hit you up on that, and to remind you. Now, I posted the syllabus, which shows where those, the syllabus does tell you, you'll see where 1 week is actually cramming in 2. But I'll also try to make announcements to remind you that you have to make a little bit more time in your week to get that work done. And I try to make it as realistic as possible for you. So, for example, I normally break up ancient Israel and then later cover Judaism, because I think that they're two different things, and I think you'll see my argument why, even though they come out of the same history. one's talking about the ancient Israel and its temple, and then the destruction of the temple, and then the rabbis, Talmudic Judaism, for example. Or I also do 1 week where we do ancient Greece and then go into ancient Rome because of the carryover. So I try to make weeks where we cram, at least put information that goes together in a logical way that, at least it's not so random, okay? Alright, sorry, and I keep having this chest cough thing. It's even in my lectures. Forgive me, I don't know what to say about that. Anyhow, the other thing is the workload. I always have students coming in and they drop right away because they just become so overwhelmed. And especially when you look and see the syllabus with, having late start schedule stuff going on. But I just want to clarify that, most of my students who ever stay with me find that they get A's or B's because I have a very straightforward routine. We get notes for the videos done on Thursday with the chats, and then we have a paper due on Sundays. I don't have quizzes, and the exams do not have a lot of points in them. So survival in my class is based on keeping up the work each week, not having, you do not need to memorize all this information that you're going to get downloaded with. You follow me? Now, on the notes for videos, you're going to see lots of videos. If you add up the time that I put for all those videos, it's less time than you would be sitting in a classroom getting a full lecture, or about the same. Rarely over that amount of time, if ever. So it's a reasonable amount of work. On the video notes, as I mentioned in there, which you'll see when we go over the instructions each week, you will write down 2 points made per lecture video. So if I have 11 lectures, then there should be two. You could write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go down the line of 11. Each number represents a lecture, and then you write down 2 points at least written in each lecture. So, for example, if we were covering Martin Luther during the Protestant Reformation, you could say like Martin Luther was a Catholic theologian. That's 1 point made. And he began to question the teachings of the church. Second point. You get what I'm saying? That's substantial to the topic, which is we're going to learn that Martin Luther was a person who was a reformer, and then he broke away from the Catholic Church. But so in other words, like 2 points made that are relevant to the topic. That's what I'm looking for. They can be that short and concise. You can write more than that if you want, but ultimately I just want to look at your notes and say, hey, this person actually watched all the videos and is getting the main points out of them. Okay, so that's important. The papers are not scholarly in the sense that you have to do research. You can use the information in your notes plus the textbook to get your papers on Sunday, and they can be 1 page. But if you're going to get full points for 1 page, you got to actually fill up that page with quality and content from the material. Okay? The textbook, we're not using the My History Lab. We are just using Connections. Now, this is the teacher's edition right here. But if you see Langdon, Judge, and Langdon and Judge, sorry, and it is the 3rd edition is what I prefer. But if you have 4th, because I'm not using the My History Lab, you should be fine. I think if you're close to the 3rd edition, but that's what I have right now. So that's it on the textbook. And then the last thing I'm going to say, I don't want to make this announcement too much longer. I normally do not encourage people to text or to call me when I have a face-to-face class, but this is different. And I encourage you to text or call me. I have another job, and I'm busy quite a bit like the rest of you. I encourage texting or calling between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. on most days. Weekends, I'm going to be a little bit harder to get a hold of. I have 24 hours to get a hold of you, but I try to do it right away. But I have lunch breaks often in the week, so if you hit me up in the mornings with a text or a message, I can usually on my lunch break kind of answer any issues. So I try to do that. Keep in mind that I have a very large 104 class, and so I have a lot of students right now, and I got to keep track of everybody, and that's difficult. Sometimes people slip through the cracks, whether you're giving me a message through Canvas or a phone call with a message or a text. If I don't get back to you in 24 hours, get back a hold of me right away, because I feel free to be persistent. You're not annoying me, okay? And keep in mind, I've been a single father most of my time in college, and much of my time in college, and as a professor. My daughter's 18 now, so it barely counts. I mean, she's got 2 jobs, she's going to college herself, barely ever here. But I understand the struggle of parenting, especially single parenting. And I also understand the issues of heartache when relationships are going bad in the middle of the semester, when people get colds, car accidents. You don't need to explain yourself to me if you have some issue. You don't have to tell me your personal life story. What you need to do is communicate with me. I'm very flexible to work with people who are consistent about their work and then communicate, when there's some struggles going on, and need a little extra time. But you need to do that. I'm very open to help out my students, but you've got to work with me as well. Okay. So I just wanted to say that. And last thing I say to my lecture videos for this week, but we start off with an evolution. Not everybody believes in evolution. You don't have to believe in evolution. You don't have to believe in anything that I teach you. I am. You're learning about different ways that the world is perceived from a historical point of view in an academic setting, and that's all that you're asked to do, is respond to the questions made about like what's addressed in those things. I want everybody of all ideological persuasions to feel comfortable in my class, and just know that I respect beliefs of all types. And in an environment where politics have become so divisive, all of us on our personal level, we have a lot of things we're having to address right now. But in my classroom, this is a safe space. Okay, my classroom is like Switzerland right now. So that means that we come in our discussions and we respect each other. We have free speech, but we also have respect and tolerance towards each other. And I think that I haven't had a problem with that yet in any of my classes. So I just wanted to say that, and that's it. Anything else? Any other questions? Just hit me up. I'm accessible.